welcome to episode 8 of Two Girls, a Guy, and a TARDIS. We have a full TARDIS today, and it took on a little water over the past couple days here, but we got that taken care of. I'm your host, John.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Phil.
Joanna.
And we have two special guests.
I'm Phil.
And Joanna.
So, yeah, everyone's here basically because last Friday we all went. Well, not all. Joanna, number 2, couldn't go, but Phil, myself, and Nicole and Joanna 1 all went to see Don't Blink, a Doctor Who burlesque. So I think we'll open the show with that. I guess. I'm just gonna open it up to. Let's go with Phil. Your thoughts? You've seen it before, right?
Yeah, this is actually the 4th time that I'd seen it. It's a great show. It's really funny. All the actresses, dancers capture the personalities of their doctors. Great gags, great inside jokes that that only the diehards would get, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a blast.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Nicole?
Now that he's said everything.
Oh, so we all agree on the same points?
Well, we did talk about that it was obviously written by someone who knew their who.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on with with people trying to capitalize on stuff. Mm-hmm. But I can honestly say that, well, we did meet the writer also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she did seem passionate about what she was doing. She said that all the actresses are now Who fans. They may not all have been in the beginning, but some were. And it did show. I mean, the I don't have the cast list with me right now. I do have it, and I put it on our website and our blog. But the woman that played Dr. 10,
I'm blanking on her name, but
she was great. I mean, and all the ones that played they all did an excellent job of playing the characters that we know and love, only more exaggerated.
Yeah,
like really digging into the,
And more likely to take their clothes off.
Oh, well, of
course.
There you go. True. I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there that would have liked to have seen David Tennant take his clothes off too, but or Billy Piper or whoever, But there were a lot of bad guys. Mm-hmm. You had Daleks and Cybermen
and an angel.
And angels, an angel, and
an Ood,
and the master,
or
the mistress.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not gonna. I don't want to ruin the whole plot,
right?
So I'll just get. Although when I said that to Busty, the writer, I said, "Well, we're not going to ruin the plot." She goes, "There's a plot," but it basically the universe gets turned upside down and everyone becomes a woman,
pretty much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And some of the best scenes were when each of the doctors finally realized that they were a woman. So that was always fun. Let's see, you had the 9th Doctor represented, the 10th, the 11th, and the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 9th was Diva La Vida, who is just, I've seen her in a lot of other shows. She's just really fantastic. They had a Star Trek show before where she was Khan.
I can see that. I can completely see that.
Yeah. And the Empire Brings Sexy Back show.
She plays one?
Yeah, the Empire Strikes Back parody. She plays both Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett. And she's just fantastic.
What really rang with me with the way this was written was the fact that it opens up as for those of the Who fans that watched Doctor Who in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah.
We remember the Channel 11 subscription drives,
exactly.
the WPTW drives. And that's when I think the first time I ever saw the show was on one of those, where they would ask you to donate. Our programs are made possible by viewers like you.
Right.
So they open up with that.
Right.
And the TV presenter also played the 4th Doctor, Irene Goodnight. Yeah. And they did a great job making it seem like you were watching that.
And it's the perfect way, because usually at the halfway point they'll have to get tips from the audience, and it's the perfect thing. Pledge night, of course, that makes perfect sense, for a Doctor Who show. It's like,
yeah, it was really well done. Let's see, you had so many characters represented. You had Jane, who was supposed to be Sarah Jane Smith.
That was Ruby Bourbon.
Bourbon, right? You mentioned Doctor Number 9, Lily, who obviously was Rose, and a few other characters. I mean, all of them played multiple characters. Was Juicy Lucy. 10th Doctor was Crystal Paradise. I thought she did a fabulous job as Tennant, though. As number 10, I really did.
She just captured
she had
every
the walk, and I mean, she was brilliant.
She had just mannerisms down and the kind of the speech inflection, you know.
I mean, and like I said, they all did well, you know. And then let's see, Una, who it took me a while to figure out was Donna.
Right.
That one threw me a little bit. That was Devin Devante? Deviante. That might have been the new one. Remember you said there was one that wasn't in the show originally?
No, it's the new one is the 11th Doctor.
Vicky Van Gogh?
Vicky Van Gogh. Originally, it was Lady Lemondrop.
Well, for being a fill-in, she did quite well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
She did capture the Matt Smith forgetful just aloofness, you know,
and the goofiness. Yeah.
And then who was the character Court? It's supposed to be Amy.
Yeah, I think.
I think.
I mean, because I understand changing the names. I'm assuming that was supposed to be Amy, and that was Vespa Van Dyne. And they all did a pretty good job.
I guess the idea originally, I think it's kind of a combination of Amy and Rory, and it became Court. Kind of. I don't know if it quite works in that way, but yeah, that's the reason for that name.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask each person what they think their favorite scene or scenes were. We'll go with scenes. And Joanna, you hearing all this?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You should have a favorite scene too.
You should have a favorite scene too. Darn it!
Prepare one right now.
Just make one up. And I'm just going to go counterclockwise. Again, since Phil's here. Phil?
I'm trying to think. There's so many great ones. I'm trying to think.
There's so many great little quips and jokes.
Yeah,
the jokes they were telling during the intermission drive.
Yeah,
I wish I could remember some of them. I mean, the only one I remember is knock knock, who's there? Or no, knock knock, who's there? Doctor Who.
Right. Yeah.
But it was the way they told. But there were some good ones that they told.
Why did Una fail her driver's test because she
couldn't turn left?
Yeah. I think there's a scene with an ood. That's unexpected, but it's really really spectacular. It was just you wouldn't expect that character to lend itself to burlesque.
No, really wouldn't.
Yeah, but it does. Yeah, and it's just kind of an interlude, and it's amazing. It's really good. Yeah, I don't want to give it away because it's kind of a surprise, but that's probably my favorite. That was Ruby Bourbon who was and she's also an angel, and that's also she just there's something about her performance. It just has this what they call the joy of performance. It's great. Yeah.
Oh, so you're going with the ood.
Yeah, I would say the ood. Yeah.
Okay. Nicole?
I'd probably go with the angel because I thought that was. I was really kind of worried for her when she was
she almost fell on those chairs.
Yeah. She slipped up. Yeah.
But
she was.
But she did remarkably
all over. Yeah.
Well, I was like, can she? She did.
She did.
And I liked that part. And then when she finally interacts with the scene going on.
And when it first starts happening, you don't know exactly what's going on, and you're trying to figure it out, And that's why this is the first time I saw it as far back as we were, and that was, because usually I've been closer to the front, and I know that I could see I would look behind me, but it was great seeing it from that point of view and watching her,
Yeah, for that scene, you're almost a part of the scene when you're further back, I think, because she uses that whole theater. I mean, she really did.
Yeah,
I was extremely impressed. Mm-hmm. Her balance and strength is outstanding.
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody in this room could have hopped across 4 chairs. Maybe if being chased.
I don't think anyone in this podcast is hearing about it.
Unless being chased. No. But yeah, that was.
And while wearing as little, as she's wearing too, that's it's just fantastic.
That probably helps because she's lighter.
Yeah, but more if she slips, like she almost more prone to injury, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, she really she saved that. That was close. So you're going with the angel scene?
Yeah.
You could pick more than one if you want.
I did like the Cybermen, too, with the gold glitter.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And they're like, glitter everywhere.
Yeah.
And that is so true about glitter.
It is.
Yeah.
Somehow Isabella keeps getting glitter on her from somewhere, and I don't know where. And I know there was a thing of glitter in the living room at one point, but it was capped. I swear it was capped. And there's a piece that just turns up everywhere.
Her clothing has glitter on it. Hello.
Oh, baby clothing. So, Joanna, number 1, what was your favorite scene?
I have to agree with the angel thing. That girl was a phenomenal dancer, and she's very talented. You could tell she's got like ballet background or whatnot with her dancing and everything. But I kind of like the Billy Piper one because they,
When she's dancing to Billy's music?
that was
yeah.
actually pretty good.
That was a nice
if you
touch.
didn't know that was Billy Piper's like music, you wouldn't get that at all.
I heard that song start, and I'm like, wait a minute, this... I have this. I know who
And the
this
girl
is.
actually looked like Billy Piper big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really did.
did.
Especially with the jacket on.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know what Billy Piper really looks like without any of her stuff on. Well, in
Well,
one
she
show.
looked better than Billy Piper. Let me put it that way.
That's true. Billy Piper's kind of skeletal now. But, no, I mean, she looked good. She played the part great, So you're going with those two?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can leave that kind of right there. Let's see, now it's up to me, huh? Mine. The angel scene was really, really impressive. It was initially, it was kind of not serious, but it wasn't. It was just really impressive. But then it got to be a lot of fun when she started interacting with the actors.
And she kind of scared the crap out of me because
She was right near you,
She was
and you didn't
right
even realize
on the
it.
railing by me, and I turned. I'm like, what the?
And she was staring at like the person behind you or something. Well, yeah, she was right there, and I love the choice of music for that scene. I think that's what Massive Attack.
Yeah.
Angel.
I wasn't sure what the song was.
Which is just a great song on its own. So that was, I think most of the music was actually chosen pretty well.
And a great visual way to represent the angels, since obviously, we never see them move. We just take it as a given between moments, but to kind of do it on stage to represent that by having the way they do it, and it's.
Oh, it was really good. And I'd like to think that all the weeping angels move around in their underwear.
That's what we know. What the thing we're not seeing is between blinks. Yeah.
Like, so this is what happens. But it was really well done scene. I like all the scenes. The Ood one, I'm on the fence on that one.
Yeah.
It was good, but it was a little. I'm on the fence for that one, but they were good.
Okay.
I love a lot of the little jokes and quips, though, like in some of the scenes. Like when Dr. Eleven tells the Daleks, why didn't you use your elevator or your thrusters or whatever? And they go, note to self, develop anti-grav thrusters, and all the other doctors and stuff look at him, and he's like, sorry? Or she's like, sorry?
Right.
I thought that was great, and like you said, the gold dust. They were definitely...
they were even, though, what was amazing to me was they were even in character, like, there was that one point, because I was on the aisle, when the fourth Doctor and...
Yes, and Sarah, and Jane.
Came out, and they were, like, right next to me, like, crouched on the stair, and the whole time, they would, like, whisper to each other, and it was all still like they were talking in character. I was like, should I be watching them, or should I be looking at the stage?
I caught a little bit of that, and I was like, wow, they're... I wonder if that was scripted or if they just do it. Because it was pretty.
Like I said, I've always been closer to the front, so this was the first time I got to see that little bit, and that was very cool.
Yeah.
Nice little, So you almost like want to see it see it once up front, see you in the back, and like different parts of the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, them being in their underwear has nothing to do with that. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was really well done. They got to admit the last dance number too with the all the doctors was good.
Yeah,
and then the whole cast kind of comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Lily scene. I'll use the name of the character in the when or was it? Oh no, the mistress scene even was good.
Yeah,
and great. Another good choice. I mean, the song choices were all pretty good too.
Yeah,
but she had two great scenes. She did the scene where she was Lily, which was great. I thought it was great watching Dr. Ten kind of like fall for every chick. Dr. 10 and 4 kind of.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job acting out, how they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'd say the angel scene and what was the one I said before? The other one, the rose title, like the lily scene.
Yeah.
I think those are my two favorites.
And that TARDIS prop is just really cool.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, and it's not. It's because it's flat, so they can able to manipulate it without having a big TARDIS prop on stage. So they're able to wheel it away when they need to, and quickly. So yeah.
Did you catch the when they were doing the subscription drive, the midway one? There was the midway one, the intermission one. The girl with the TARDIS dress on. Mm-hmm. She made a joke. She's like, "Well, I'm bigger on the inside."
Yeah.
And it's like, so there were little pranks and gags in there, and in the beginning, I thought it was great because you have I'm doing air quotes, people, straight-laced WTTW-esque presenter, and she goes, and here we have a fangirl from the Doctor Who fan club, and she's a Hoover, and the girl pouts and looks at her, and she goes, Hoovery? And she just keeps making up words, and the girl's just like, no. So I thought the interaction even between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. And essentially the cast that I named, I think, is everybody that's in the show. I think they all do different, different roles.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they get I give them a lot of credit. And you know what? For our listeners out there, we were told that, and we put this in our notes and stuff before, if you want to see it, it's at Gorilla Tango Theater on Milwaukee in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And when you order your tickets, use the code BUSTY13. You get a discount.
Yeah. Courtesy
of Busty Warren herself, the writer, given to one of the few Chicago Doctor Who podcasts, which I'm still surprised by. This was such a hotbed of Doctor Who. You used to do one, though, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to say we're doing a tribute to the Colin Baker 18-month hiatus. It's been about a year since we've been, I was the bar tab of Rassilon. We were on, what was it, WTR radio, and then we left that, and there was EGN TV, which which was at Chicago. We did it it was at the Sunday afternoons at Chicago Bar and Diner.
Oh wow!
But they went through a reorganization, and they lost the lease on the lease on the place, and then we just really haven't been able to We haven't gotten around to reorganizing since then.
Yeah.
But eventually, I suppose we'll get it back on.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoy doing ours, and we have our TARDIS that amazingly its chameleon circuit is stuck to look like my basement. Well, the inside anyway. We have a control console.
Yeah.
But I recommend going to see the show if you're a Doctor Who fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even people that aren't Doctor Who fans, I think, would enjoy it.
Yeah, Friday nights at 9, which means they're actually dancing at right this moment. So, yeah.
39 we're coming up on the big finale number almost, because it's about an hour long, right?
Yeah. Well, they're at least at the halfway point. Yeah.
They packed a lot into an hour show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was very... We were talking about that on the way home. I was like...
Yeah.
I could not believe the amount that they put in an hour. I'm like, it seemed longer.
Yeah, and it's always that way. It's always entertaining. It never seems to go on too long, And yeah, it's to have it down pat, Yeah.
Agreed.
You don't want to overstay your welcome, even even in a burlesque show.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Which probably another point to make for our listeners.
This is an adult-only show, yeah.
But also that it's not it's not like you don't have to. I mean, there is the story and it's funny and so you don't have to go just because you want to see women taking their clothes off.
Yeah, I mean, as with most Gorilla Tango shows, I mean, it's not if you just want to go and be a pervert and look at chicks, it's no. I mean, the show's much deeper than that.
Right. And it's actually, like I said, it's it's
not that
funny.
You couldn't.
Whatever level you want to appreciate it at.
Well, that's why there were only certain people that went. I had a few people going, "Oh, go." I'm like, no. Go on your own. You did not know. You don't know us. But yeah, I had a good time, and it was one of the few nights we got to go out as a group and as adults.
And it almost seems to it reminds me of, there's been a whole trend in cosplaying of women playing the Doctor, dressing up, and it seems almost like an extension of that. Mm-hmm. So here are women playing the Doctor, and in a burlesque setting, and it just kind of a natural progression to me. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of classic fans and even new fans that are like, how could you be recommending a show that's a burlesque show? Doctor Who, my kids, yeah, your kids, yeah, I get it, but grow up.
But it's for adults.
Yeah, it's for adults,
Mm-hmm. We all appreciate the show on different, different
levels. Like you said, different levels, yeah.
Yeah,
and it goes for the real show, too. I mean, like you said, like you were just saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Doctor Who has always been treated more as an adult fixture in the U.S. than in Britain.
Agreed.
I mean, Chicago was always, the time slot that it settled on was always Sunday
11
nights.
p.m. Sunday night.
Exactly.
On my 9-inch black and white TV with 2 dials made by Emerson. 4 dials if you count the volume and tone.
And that's obviously not a kid's time zone, So,
well,
unless
I wasn't supposed to be up, but yeah.
Well,
You're
for
right,
the most part, yeah.
Well, because the thing is, they show it during the subscription drives, and those were, you'd see Doctor Who maybe evening,
right?
Or in the afternoon they'd show one.
Yeah.
So as a kid, you're watching, and go, wow, this is great. When's it on? And you're looking, when is it? 11 p.m. on Sundays.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, Ma, can I sit up and watch this? No, go to bed. So if I keep the TV really quiet, which is exactly what I would do, she would go to bed, and I'd turn the TV on real quiet, and
so I would just
absorb the radiation coming off the cathode ray tube.
I would always just tape it and watch it after school the next day, but
Oh, yeah. Wow. I didn't have a VCR yet.
Okay.
Yeah. When I got a VCR, I did have stacks of tapes of it that I taped.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I had taped episodes that were at some point lost even.
Oh, wow.
But I think that they all got wrecked in my mom's house when the basement flooded, so I don't have any of them.
As the BBC wring their hands, we were so close.
I find it funny that the only way you won't get sued for like copyright problems or anything is if it's a lost episode and you go, look, I have a copy.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember years back, before the show came back on the air, there was a website called DoctorWho.tv. And this guy would stream episodes. And it was a small window. It was like, it wasn't even you couldn't even go full screen. So you had to watch it in a little window.
Right.
And he would show old episodes. Oh, no, it was right after the show came out, because he showed some Eccleston episodes. Maybe it was when Tennant's first year. But he would just randomly stream an episode. And the BBC sent him a cease and desist letter, and he didn't really understand why. And it's like, well, I get why. If you weren't showing any of the newer ones, you probably could have got away with it.
Yeah. I think he had, during Series 2, they had these minute-long vignettes called TARDISodes.
Yep.
And they were either on the BBC website. You could watch them there around that time. But eventually they took them off, and I think he had, I haven't looked lately, I think he had them on there. Because there was a dispute between the online arm of the BBC and the home video, it ended up not being on the DVDs. But, they're kind of they're slightly, slightly important to the, to watch beforehand. So I think there should be some place where that can be, if they're not available elsewhere.
Yeah, he would. But it's funny, watching that website, you'd see a Troughton episode, and then you'd see a Baker episode right after it, and it was neat because it's like just throw it on.
Yeah.
So I kind of miss that, and it'd be nice if the BBC would do something like that, because why not just show the classics like that?
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, they're doing it a little bit with the BBC America is having the Doctors Revisited, or each month, because for the 50th anniversary, they're focusing on one of the Doctors. They have a little documentary on that Doctor, and then they show one of their classic stories. My only gripe is that the original Doctor Who was 3x4,
Yeah, the old aspect ratio, right.
Yeah, so they've been either cropping them to the widescreen, either cutting off the top and bottom, or stretching them out, and it's just kind of ridiculous.
On the plus side, they're showing good episodes for the Doctors.
Yeah,
Each one's been good.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of those episodes, and they're well written. I mean, I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nicole have discussed this before with Joanna, that I love the new show. Now it's back. Mm-hmm. But this season alone, there have been episodes that actually could have benefited from being longer or being 2 parts.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the pacing's good in the beginning, and then it gets rushed at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. It's just if they were just a little longer, they could pull it off. And
I mean, the perfect thing. I mean, because originally the show was 25 minutes, and these are 45 minutes. They're about like a two-parter. But you almost wish they had they used to have 3-part episodes, at least near the end of the series. You almost wish it could have been something of that length, but.
Well, in the Hartnell days, you had 6-part episodes, 25 minutes apiece.
12-part stories. The Daleks.
Yeah, you had some really long stories.
Yeah. 10 for Trout.
Yeah,
I think
War Games.
Yeah. I mean, some of them were a little too long. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
You know, I mean, they exist. But when you get near the Davison and Baker years and the McCoy years,
yeah,
I think they were pretty much at a good length.
Yeah.
I think because we had said Hell Asylum would have been awesome if it was 2 parts.
Yeah,
they could have explored so much more about the Daleks and their mentality.
But it's almost to the point where they maybe had enough for 1.5 parts of the current length. If it's 2 parts, I suppose it would have been too much stretching, and I don't know. They need to figure something.
Well, so I think I had said if they were only 20 minutes longer.
I mean,
just a full 60 minutes. I think you would get a lot more in there.
I suppose it being. Then they'd have to figure. I guess they'd have to figure out. If they did that, I hope the BBC America would show them complete still. But the trouble would be, of course, that when they would, BBC America shows the complete the first time, and after that, they cut it so that it fits in an hour. Sometimes they don't have to cut very much if the show is, but if a show is that long, they would chop it to pieces. But hopefully that's not too much of an issue with. They get the DVDs out pretty quickly, and they have, and plus there are other ways, and they're also.
We'll just leave it at that.
Well, there are also legal ways because they put up on iTunes right away too.
Yeah, they're on Amazon Prime. I mean, you could get them.
Yeah, so you can get the complete episode without commercial breaks, for both legitimate and illegitimate.
Yeah. And
I just do it for the legitimate reason because I just have my DVR and I just DVR in it.
Mm-hmm. Really? What about those classic episodes?
Yeah, I just DVR. I still haven't deleted this section of shows yet.
She just glossed right over me saying that.
What?
I said, what about the classic ones?
That I have.
I'm just messing with you. I bought every episode of my classic ones.
I'm pretty much I've fallen behind lately, but I pretty bought a lot of the DVDs, and I just love the attention they put on the show, the commentaries, the information text, which is almost, and the documentaries. It's almost like you're getting a little Doctor Who 101, getting a history of the program. Because if you watch, all the extras, you'll have a pretty good understanding of the history of what was going on behind the scenes and everything.
Well, they used to do the Doctor Who confidentials, and they canceled them because I don't know. I guess maybe, it seemed like a great idea. Maybe just not enough people watched them. Maybe you're trying to film a show and then you have people filming you film the show, and it just
I'm not sure if it was that. I think it was just they decided they wanted rather spend the money doing something else. I was just feeling people
they have to pay Benedict Cumberbatch's salary.
Apparently, yeah.
You mentioned the 50th, and let's just segue into our news here. Filming for the 50th, we all know has been going on. They returned to Cardiff, more precisely the Cardiff National Museum, and they believe Matt Smith, what's her name, the breeder's daughter, Redgrave. I can't think of her first name.
Right.
Gemma.
She's there. Gemma Redgrave and Jenna Louise Coleman were all spotted there.
Okay.
And so they're filming there, and I guess they're saying that it looks. I guess they filmed a little bit in London at the museum, so I think they're using Cardiff as the stand-in, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think that's where they shot the Planet of the Dead, the museum scenes at the beginning of when she's robbing the museum, isn't? I think.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. It's right there.
I think that was, and I think it was also in a Sarah Jane Adventures episode with the about the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
I never watched the Sarah Jane Adventures. I kind of feel like I should have, but they also kind of felt almost too kid-like for me in a sense. I don't know. I was torn. Like, do I want to watch them? Or?
They're enjoyable. In fact, I mean, I haven't caught up with it. I've only seen up to the first 4 series so far. But if anything, they're closer to the original Doctor Who, since they have the half-hour length. They have the cliffhangers.
Oh, okay.
Because they have usually 2-part stories. They have cliffhangers between them. And pretty much Sarah Jane pretty much is the Doctor role in her story with the kids as her companions, and it's a lot of fun. I do recommend that. You know,
I did see some clips of the new K9 show that takes place in a dystopian future.
Right.
You know, watching the promo for it, I'm going, I like everything you're saying, and I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But I have this fear that it's horrible.
I've not seen it, but yeah, it doesn't look. It doesn't look promising, though.
Well, the problem is, it sounds like it would be a great concept if it was for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's for kids. So you have this Blade Runner-esque dystopian, William Gibson, Philip Dick future.
Yeah, and not to belittle things that are for kids, but it's done, kind of, when things are done for kids, but without any attention paid, or with any care put on what you're putting on for them. Whatever, they're kids. Put anything on the air. But I haven't seen it, so I guess I can't really say for sure. I think they are on DVD, or they will be soon, or next month.
Sci-Fi Channel ran them all on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
I didn't see any of them though.
I taped them, didn't get around to watching them. And
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it just because.
Yeah,
it's got to be better than K9 and Company.
Oh yeah, well that's.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that didn't even get picked up for more than one episode.
Yeah, they play during the before the Don't Blink starts. They play various song clips, and they do play the K9 and Company theme song, which is probably one of the worst theme songs you'd ever hear, and it's so 80s. It's so
Well, it's funny because it was K9 and Company, but if I'm correct, wasn't Sarah Jane in it?
Yeah, she's really the star.
Yeah, she was really the star of it, not the Tin Dog.
Yeah, but you had to promote it that way, I guess.
I guess so. Well, K9 was highly popular.
Yeah,
but also we were talking last week. We talked about how none of the previous Doctors have been invited. But we were like, well, is that true? Are they faking it? Who knows? Paul McGann said that an anniversary appearance can happen last minute. So it's like, okay, Paul, there's something you're being sneaky.
I do hope there's more than one. I mean, it would be kind of sad if it was just an anniversary special with just 2 Doctors. I'm reserving judgment, but
same.
Yeah.
But you're celebrating a 50th anniversary, and you're going to use the 2 most recent.
Yeah, it's really more of an 8th anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Last week I had said that my brilliant idea would have been, okay, they obviously aren't going to look the same. Paul McGann could probably pass.
Right.
Why not just have something happen that shocks him in the TARDIS, like he gets electrocuted or something,
right?
And he hears them in his head telling him what to do and talking, like interacting with them, where you hear Davison's voice and McCoy's voice, and they argue back and forth, and maybe Matt Smith is like, "Stop it, knock it off," and then everybody looks at him, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Or maybe do a quantum leap thing where maybe at various points he would look in a mirror and see one of the past Doctors looking back at him or something, Or
he talks and their voice comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ways you could do like a nod to it and not.
Or if they would
go overboard.
I've heard this idea pitched before, where maybe within the story they would play a part that's not the Doctor, that's a cameo appearance, and the audience would know, okay, this is such and such, Doctor, even though they're not playing the Doctor, and that would be a way to
yeah. Well, Sylvester McCoy said the same thing.
Yeah.
There's something that people have to realize. Not everyone knows the classic series or the classic Doctors.
Right. They shouldn't be the forefront of the episode.
Right. Well, obviously we know Stephen Moffat knows them, so I mean this is supposed to be a 50th anniversary program, so I would think he would. Well,
I guess that's the thing. Joanna makes a good point that not everyone knows them, but they know there was something before.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if you're celebrating the 50th,
right,
it's kind of like, well, there obviously was something before that should be celebrated a little bit. I mean,
maybe unless they're going to run clips from each at various points of each from past stories. I don't know.
We'll find out in a few months.
And it's supposed to be in 3D as well. I'm wondering how that's going to...
Matt Smith claims that Stephen Moffat has done wonders with the 3D.
Yeah.
What's he going to say? Stephen Moffat screwed the pooch?
It's not just like throwing things at your face. He's using it in a very Stephen Moffat way, whatever that means.
I just hope, I would imagine...
Like Christmas.
I wonder if that means it'll be shown in theaters in the U.S. Will we get... Because most people
it's
don't have
it's supposed to be at a couple of theaters.
Okay.
I'm sure it's going to be like L.A. and New York. The two cities that didn't care about Doctor Who in the 80s.
Right. Although I think New York did have... It was on WOR-TV, yeah.
I'm almost positive L.A. didn't. But New York, Chicago, I think, and Minnesota, I think, was kind of... Was it Minnesota? Minneapolis?
Iowa had it for a long time.
Well, maybe it was Iowa. Yeah. The Midwest was always, from what my understanding is, the Midwest was kind of like the American stronghold for the show.
Yeah. In San Jose, I think it lasted for quite a while on the PBS station there when a lot of other stations had dropped it. We'll
find out.
Yeah. I mean, they did have they had a 3D commercial or promo for Series 6? No, or Series, the first one, Amy Pond, where they're on, him and Amy Pond are are lying on the grass, and then the ground drops beneath them, and they're floating in space.
Yeah.
It was originally shown in theaters in the UK in 3D. So
it's been done.
Yeah. And then there was the really crappy Dimensions in Time, which is not, it's not real 3D. It's kind of where you take a sunglass and pop one of the lens out.
Yeah, Channel 11 showed something like that with Wild Chicago years ago.
Yeah.
Back to my black and white TV days, almost.
There was also an episode of Third Rock from the Sun, which used the same format. But that's not even the problem. The problem was, that episode was just horrendous. But it was done for charity, so I guess you kind of...
Yeah, they're just out to have a good time.
Yeah.
So they talked to David Tennant, asked him what he thought about being back. He said, it's strange being back in the same suit, but it also feels familiar and comfortable. There's nothing quite like Doctor Who. It has wonderful excitement about it. I've always had happy times there, and it's lovely to be around Billy again, even though I see her all the time anyway. So, when he said, I don't want to go, which was in the burlesque show also, when he said that, even as an actor, I'm not sure he really wanted to step out. I think he just did because he thought it was the time for him to go. Like, he didn't want to overstay his welcome,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think he did the right thing. I don't think he wanted to overstay his welcome. I think it was like his time to go. He knew he had to go.
I'm sure he would have. I'm sure if they had asked him, he would have stuck around.
Well, did you see that was just online that Stephen Moffat had a plan for David Tennant's first year where he'd appear and he'd be all the raggedy doctor kind of, and then you'd find out later he'd come back, have no memory of the event, and then you'd find out at the end that was actually the last time he saw Amy. Yeah,
that's what they said, was that he said that the first episode, it was going to be the episode we saw.
Yeah, just
only they were
Tennant.
It was going to be
and no fish fingers and custard.
Right.
He said something more Tennant-y.
But he did 3 series and a year of specials. Yeah, it's nothing worse than overstaying. I think Tom Baker overstayed.
Yeah,
his welcome a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tom Baker overstayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he did look. He really, by the last year, he was tired. You could just he had that gaunt expression pretty much. But
it seemed like he was phoning the last 2 years in.
Yeah,
just like I'm showing up on set. That's all you need out of me.
Yeah.
But so they talked to Tennant. They also talked to Robert Banks Stewart, who I believe was the writer of the first ever Zygon episode.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
And he, it was an interview with Digital Spy, which a lot of people don't trust, but it's an interview. How bad could it be?
Right.
He says the Zygons will be there with all the others, particularly the Daleks and Cybermen.
Okay.
He said, but nobody yet knows the plot of the 50th. Stephen Moffat and his team in Cardiff, they're quite rightfully keeping it secret. How he knows any of that, on the other hand, was not discussed, because I don't think is really writing any...
I somehow don't think they'd be confiding all the secrets of the 50th to him, but...
Well, but I think he would have, as the creator of the Zygon, he would have to have creative.
They would have consulted him a little bit.
Well, probably approval of this is
No, they may have.
Just like they did with Terry Nation's people whenever these are Daleks, you know.
They got their approval to do that Manhattan episode. But I think that's definitely, something to think about is if he's right. Because a lot of people have said the Zygons probably aren't going to be your main bad guy. Because they just don't have the pull. They're just not the...
They're probably one that fans have always wanted to see come back. Because they only appeared once, but they were very memorable.
Was it once or twice?
Was the other one?
I think it was just once.
Was it just once? Okay.
Yeah.
And I know he wrote Web of Fear and he wrote the Zygon episode, but I believe they only appeared one time.
I mean, there have been various, I think, probably comics and novels, but not on television.
Yeah, there have been a lot of Big Finish.
Well, they made little references, like in Power 3. He mentions the Zygon ship being underneath the... So, I mean, they, threw in a little reference, but...
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of like...
That was an off-screen adventure with the Zygons.
I think Doctor Who has become like how Pixar is, where they, put a hint to their next episode in, the previous ones.
Okay.
Like, if you watch Pixar films, if you look into the background, you'll see stuff that is going to be in the next one.
Okay, yeah.
And it seems like that's what Moffat likes to do.
Yeah. Or like the Marvel films, where after the end credits, you'll have the lead into the next one,
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. And let's see, they also asked him about the new show, and he said that he believes the show's too adult. So my own personal opinion is that modern Doctor Who should be aimed more at children. People very fondly remembered being scared by Doctor Who. Now the plots seem to me to be a little too adult. I mean, are they? I don't know. I mean, some of them I guess kind of are, but I mean, some of the old ones are pretty adult.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's obviously entitled, to his opinion. I think it's just been such
well, he's not the first one to say that from the old days either.
Well, unless he's on the same kick with the romance and kissing, and that's what's inappropriate, because content-wise, otherwise, I think they
don't swear or anything. I mean, we swear more on here. Usually me.
That's true.
And I think we also had an episode title revelation this week.
Oh yeah, they announced the episode of the last episode.
Yeah,
or the name of the
episode of the last episode.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I think it's going to be one of the most important revelations for this series, and possibly leading into the 50th anniversary episode.
And in case anyone missed, of course, the title of the last was the name of the Doctor.
If you don't want to hear it, earmuffs for the next 5 seconds.
Sorry, I didn't.
Earmuffs for the next 5 seconds. And
I guess I don't consider episode titles. Besides, I don't consider episode titles to be real spoilers. And besides, they're never really what you think they are.
You mean let's kill Hitler?
Yeah,
which had 5 minutes of killing of Hitler, and they didn't even kill Hitler.
Or the Doctor's daughter. They're really designed to mislead you to thinking and they end up not being the obvious thing.
And I'm sure with the title, what's the title of this one?
Name of the Doctor,
which I'm sure is going to be nothing to do with it.
It's
going to be something. It's going to be something mentioned, just like the bells of St. John's.
Yeah,
the big revelation isn't going to be, hey, the Doctor's name is Bob.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious. It's like, what's the Doctor's name? Clive.
Yeah. It's John Smith, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What if it really is? So
because there's nothing they could think of that's really going to match whatever you think it is. It's kind of pointless to. I don't know. It becomes too limiting if once he has a name.
Well, yeah, somebody.
Although he still has to tell River his name, doesn't he?
Does he really?
Because didn't she know it in Silence in the Library?
Right. They don't say. He just says that she knows something that I would only tell my wife. I think he says. He doesn't really specifically say it's his name. Everyone assumed it's his name. I mean, really though, because we see River dead in Silence in the Library, but somehow she just keeps, Allegedly, they claim they're going to show a gravestone with her name on it, which could just be, he was put a gravestone somewhere for her, but.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder why he can't use the TARDIS somehow and just zap her into his TARDIS computer? She could be the voice. It'd be like Knight Rider. He'd be getting nagged by his wife all day. No, really, we're going to that ice planet again? Really?
How would she get along with the TARDIS itself? I mean, she with her.
Because like she met him going backwards. She met him.
Yeah.
When we first met River, she was with the 10th
Right.
Doctor.
And she said that she had known an older version of him.
Yes.
But which version we'll never know.
Right.
Because, I mean, they could say that and it could be the 30th Doctor for all we know.
Yeah.
Well, no. They show him meet her for the first time.
Right.
When she's Mel's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she doesn't know who he is. So that would be when they met. And then she changes her name when she signs up for archaeology school.
And that's
she
because
gives River Song.
I think because they say, "Oh, it's River Song," and she's kind of like, "Oh, that sounds like a good name."
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, but she didn't know who. So that's when they met. So it was this Doctor. So I mean, that's all wrapped up, ish.
It's a bit, yeah.
Tie up some loose ends, and then we're done with River, I believe.
I think you could just leave it. I mean, I think you could just leave it the way it is, and it'd be fine. Because otherwise, it's turning into a Rose Tyler thing. She just keeps coming back.
Yeah,
River's so much cooler than Rose.
Rose, the first series was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I suppose it's at least River doesn't appear. If she was on if she was an actual companion, that would probably be a bit too much. Yeah, because as it is, I mean, I'm not
tired of her, but I don't want her to be overused.
Yeah, I mean, she's a bit of a Mary Sue. I can't have to admit. I think, I mean, she's kind of so perfect. And it's a little bit.
It's almost like somebody wrote her to be the ideal wife for the Doctor. But anyways, we've got a lot going on already. Let's talk about the Ice Warrior episode. Let's talk about Cold War.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
It was one of the better episodes because it was everything paced out very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked well.
Yeah.
I like the Professor as the best character because he was the calm one.
Well, I like when he was asking.
Storyteller.
Well, I like when he was asking about the future.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to tell me. Does Ultravox split up? And she would say, "Oh."
One thing I wasn't sure about, though, was he supposed to be that they were working with a British professor, or were we supposed to believe he's Russian as well?
Russian.
He's just such a I guess the accent.
Was I the only one that thought that they should have at least had Russian accents?
I think a lot of people have been saying that.
Well, but they explained that they would hear them.
Well,
realistically,
so everybody just sounds British to them.
Well, realistically, wouldn't the TARDIS convert it to just like standard vanilla English, where you wouldn't have an accent then?
Or do it like
there's an American accent you see on TV that doesn't exist in real life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or you could have done it like they did in The Curse of Fenric, where they start off speaking Russian before the Doctor gets there, and then once they realize once they realize she's British or he, then they say, "Oh, all right, everybody speak English from now on," and then so they would have the accent at least, and we would,
Well, that's because they never talked about the fact that the TARDIS gets in your head and can translates for you.
Yeah, but I think it's a matter of they're Russian, but you're hearing British, so you have to actively think.
I got confused initially. I thought it was a British sub.
They made a big point though, because then they kept having those things like where he says to her like, "You speak impeccable Russian,"
right?
But I don't understand. So
it just threw it off because of that. Like they should have at least had Russian accents. I thought because to me it would be converted to the language she understands. Only you'd hear their accent.
Yeah. And then I think I don't recall, but I think supposedly the signage was in Russian to at least try to give you a visual cue that
I didn't pay attention.
I remember reading, but the only difficult part of it is, of course, the TARDIS is supposed to translate those too, but you kind of let that go.
Well, the funny thing is, the TARDIS translates for her and the Doctor, not for us.
Right. So if it's not a point of view of them, that makes sense.
So that was kind of where I was kind of like, but I get past that. I mean, that was the only thing I really had to get past because, to me, I thought it was pretty good.
I liked Skaldek, the Ice Warrior. He's I
did not miss the hissing voice at all. Actually, to be honest.
Well, they had a little bit of it.
Yeah. It was subtle though. It wasn't like
I liked even the with the glimpse of what we saw of the Ice Warrior outside of the armor, which was
it looked good.
Because that was a tricky thing, because you have more of a chance of disappointing an audience that that are been imagining this for a long
Yeah, I was the only part of it that I thought didn't look great was when his hands would come down out of the ceiling.
Yeah, it looked a bit.
I was like, it looks a bit like the hands from the Slovene.
It looked all right, but it looked. It did look.
It's like it looked familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the War of the Worlds when you would.
The three fingers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of worried for this second half of the series because I was like, the first two they aired were just okay. Like at the end of it, I got done watching them and it was just kind of like I don't remember if there was a plot.
Yeah,
this one was the first one that I thought really like
the Bells of St. John and the Rings of
Akhaten.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just sit here and point out flaw after flaw with that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Cold War was great.
Yeah,
it was good.
Well, I thought they did a good job of updating the Ice Warriors and keeping them. Like, I thought there is no way they can make this seem practical to be in this big, bulky
turtle looking up.
Yeah, like there is no way that. How can they make this work? And then
they did. It
was like, oh, I get it. It seems very practical now.
Yeah,
and it's one of those monsters that really they only appeared 4 times, twice with the second Doctor and twice with the third Doctor. But they're ones that fans remember all these years later. And they're probably, I thought, in some fans think in the same way that Daleks and Cybermen and everything else. Even though, like I said, they appeared very little, and and it's been 1970.
39 years since they were last on.
Yeah, the early 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah,
I wasn't here yet.
None of us were.
That's true.
They're about to release the Ice Warriors on DVD in September. Two of the parts are missing, and they've gone and animated those parts. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I hope they do the animation style where it looks like the show, like they did for the latest reconstruction.
Or for the invasion. Yeah. And there have been other ones that have been out. They've
Reign of Terror.
Reign of Terror, yeah. And they're animating the episode 4 of the 10th Planet and putting that out.
Yeah.
And there are clips online, I think, of the animation. Yeah, it looks really good.
So, what did you think of Cold War, Joanna? Phil thought I was going to him.
I enjoyed it. It was something that I never. It was a villain or an alien I've never met before, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was well paced. It didn't seem like it was rushed.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed good. I mean, like the accents, I was thrown off and like, wait a minute.
They're supposed to be Russian.
Yes.
But I mean, that's a minor.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's very, very minor.
I mean, granted, Sean Connery could do it.
My favorite character was the Professor.
Yeah.
He was the most likable guy.
And it's been 3 episodes and they haven't killed Jenna Louise Coleman off again yet. So that's good.
Yay! So, but,
what
are your thoughts on the Professor? I mean, he seemed like he was one of the best, stronger characters.
Him and the Captain, I liked. I mean, realistically, there were only 3 other main characters. Him, the Captain, and the First Mate that wanted to nuke the world.
Yeah.
Stevisham?
Because everyone else, everyone else was just...
stock character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand there and die.
Insert red shirt. Because I want to know how they're going to pilot a ship now that pretty much... didn't pretty much everyone get wiped out? How do you pilot a nuclear... Did you notice how it was an extremely light crew for a nuclear submarine. There were like 6 people.
I think they mentioned they did make it a little bit bigger than it would have in real life because they wanted to fit cameras and stuff in there, and give a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah, but the crew of the ship should have been like 30 people anyway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they were sleeping in their bunks and didn't know what was going on.
There you go. You have to do something for dramatic purposes, otherwise, if you have too many cast members,
it just gets too
down. Yeah.
Or people just disappear, like in Curse of the Black Spot.
Maybe, yeah.
There was, I don't know if you ever noticed it, but the scene when they're in the... So the Doctor and Rory that go out? Or the Doctor and the pirate guy? Whatever it is, it's Amy Pond and the kid and 2 pirates are in the room and the door is locked. Mm-hmm. The one pirate runs out. We see the one pirate run out. He gets killed. The next scene, neither pirate are there.
Okay.
And at the end of the show, when all the pirates are back, that guy's still missing. Like, there was just a guy that maybe had to run to the washroom or something and just skip set. I don't know. But he was, like, legitimately gone. And, like, no explanation at all.
Well, almost like in...
Like, what?
When Star Trek, in Khan with... There's a scene in Star Trek 2 where he mentions remembering Chekhov even though he wasn't...
Part of the show yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the theory is that he might have been in some other part of the ship. So with the scene that happened between scenes that we didn't see before, you know.
Yeah. I remember that. Because Chekhov didn't come into the series till...
Second season.
Yeah. But the theory is that he probably was in a ship, we didn't see him. He was,
He was third shift.
Exactly.
But, so Phil, your thoughts on Cold War?
I think it was excellent. It was, it was something great for the 50th anniversary to bring back a classic monster.
Yeah.
And
I almost wish the Ice Warriors were the ones in the 50th instead of the Zygons now, though.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's still things they haven't told us, so who knows? Maybe the hint that maybe he'll be back. I don't know.
The problem
Mark Gatiss said he was hoping this would be like Dalek for the first season when you had the one Dalek and then
they came back.
Yeah.
You met them all again.
Yeah. It's funny because it would be the last time they had a season finale that had all the bad guys. There was also a Rubik's Cube involved. Yeah, wasn't it the one with the Pandorica, right? All the bad guys are there thinking they're the good guys.
Right.
Well, I guess in the way they were at the time. Did they ever explain why the TARDIS was exploding?
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Was there a Zygon there?
I
at the
don't
Pandorica?
think so.
I don't think so.
Unless they're mentioned, I don't recall, but I don't think so.
No, I don't believe so. I think there were Santarans, Cybermen, Daleks,
because you have to get...
There were a couple other ones there, too. The Jadoon, for some reason, but the Jadoon aren't bad guys, so I don't know why they were there. There's like
they had the costumes.
They had the costumes available. What the hell, put them on.
Yeah.
Just walk through. That's Joanna, number one's, one of her favorite Doctor Who characters are the rhinos. She likes the rhinos.
Yeah.
I like them, too. I thought they were great. I'd love to see them used more. I really thought when he was going to go, like, the Doctor goes to war, I thought for sure there'd be some Jadoon with him.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
They'd be good muscle, yeah.
They're a giant walking rhino. Yeah, I think they'd be all right with armor.
Yeah.
Nicole, what did you think of Cold War?
Well, I really liked it, and I thought it was like the first episode was kind of like a Pertwee. This one I thought was totally like a Troughton episode condensed down because it was even the way they first found the Ice Warriors and the ice, and then they bring that in.
I thought that was a great way to do it. And he goes, he wants me to wait till you get to the museum or whatever, or well, we're going to do it now, and he starts defrosting them.
Yeah.
And then they had the whole base under siege plot, and you had, of course, the one traitor that wants to work with the Ice Warriors, although I guess when you don't have, again, the 4 parts, his part just kind of got, hey, join... Let me tell you about the nuclear.
Let me tell you about the nuclear weapons before you agree to join forces with me.
And then you can just kill me and move on.
Yeah, and go to
But they had the whole episode was like a Troughton. They threw in the Hads again that they hadn't used since the Crotons although then it just moved like a few feet, didn't move to another pole. But.
Right.
I do like him jumping out of the TARDIS and yelling "Viva Las Vegas" or whatever while the sub's like sinking. There's water everywhere, and he's like, "Wait a minute,
this isn't Vegas. No, it's much better."
No, that was
And the line about the '80s that everything's bigger, the hairstyles, the
shoulder pads,
nuclear missiles,
Yeah, I think that was definitely that might have been the second or third best episode of Series 7. Definitely the best of the second half of it.
Sure.
I still say Asylum of the Daleks is my favorite from the whole series, but that's up there. That was good.
Yeah. The only trouble with Asylum is that they really billed it as every Dalek ever,
and they really weren't.
Yeah, or they were out, but they were all in shadow, so you really couldn't tell that they were,
And they weren't really insane. They were just sitting there.
Yeah.
It was like the planet of the broken Daleks.
Planet of Broken Toys.
Misfit Daleks. Yeah.
Well, see, that would have been... I said that they should add one pristine white Dalek just flying through the halls with its head spinning, saying he was late for a very important date.
There you go.
And even maybe even like get the Doctor and Amy to go with him to like a fake tea party or something where he's just sitting there. They're supposed to be insane, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't seem all that insane. Just
they seemed a bit perturbed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but it was. I did love that episode, but this one was right up there with it. This I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
Finally, thank you. I was starting to worry. I'm like, we're 2 episodes in, and they've both been kind of just all right.
Yeah. Well, the first of the new one, I guess the main purpose was kind of introduce the new companion, and then you have a plot
show who your overall story arc bad guy is going to be for the finale. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's going to pop his head up again.
Probably. Yeah.
So what's up next? Is Hyde next?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that one.
Haunted house kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is that the house that was with Clara, Victorian Clara?
I don't think so.
It has appeared before though. It was.
Well, they probably shoot at the same places occasionally. I would think.
I think it was on the Sarah Jane Adventures. There's also, I think, in. Yeah, because it was on Torchwood, is where the wedding was held.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think they're going to bill it as the same house as all those.
No.
Otherwise, it'd be like a Ghost Adventures episode.
Yeah.
It seems very familiar.
Yeah, I'm sure it's.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure it's why.
Well, you've seen in other series episodes just as playing different. It's
Yeah.
even the bed. They use a bedroom for the bedroom of what's the one with the space whale?
Beast
the
Below.
beast. Yeah. That was Elizabeth Tenn's bedroom. They filled in that
okay.
mansion. Yeah.
I will say I'm kind of looking forward to the next Cybermen one though, because I read that Neil Gaiman said in a panel he gave that these are not Cybermen from another dimension. And supposedly when they recorded the voices, they recorded them how they did back in the old days with a vocoder and his voice doing the voiceover work.
Oh wow!
So fingers crossed, it's the real Cybermen again.
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess somebody made the argument that in the Christmas special with the Cybermen that they weren't the alternate universe Cybermen because the logo wasn't on their chest or something.
But they could have changed. But they're always building new Cybermen. They could have just dropped it at some point. That doesn't
like
necessarily
the sponsorship stopped.
I suppose. Yeah. You know. So unless they state it on camera, then I don't know if it's the truth or not. Yeah.
Well, these definitely, from what I've seen, they looked a little different. They looked the way the head looked more like the originals. Mm-hmm. And if they're not from an alternate dimension, I mean, could be the right ones.
It would be nice to see the Mundesian Cybermen return.
See, I thought somebody said that they mentioned that those were in one of the episodes. I'm like, where?
Well, they meant. I've heard that the argument made about the closing time. I think was that know, but for the similar reasons of the logo being gone. So, but
right, because somehow they would look identical to the Cybermen from another dimension, only without a logo.
Yeah,
that'll do it. Whovians. That's why I stopped reading all the forums. You go nuts just trying to say that guy's a good idea. How dare you rip on that guy's idea? Yeah, it's like no, forget it. I don't bother.
And I think Gallifrey One had mentioned on Monday they were supposed to make some big announcement this week, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
I guess maybe it's. Maybe the delay. They didn't sign everything hasn't been signed that they thought it would.
All the living classic doctors in one big galley.
Exactly.
You heard it here first.
And you can,
made up just for this show.
And if you don't have a ticket, you can't go.
Why even bother announcing anything big anymore? You can't get tickets. They sold out in like a week. 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
12 days.
12 days. Yeah.
And you got one.
Yep.
There you go. I'm going to. Yeah.
Oh, both of you got them.
Yeah.
See, now you know someone there.
Yes.
Oh, good.
But they always do that. They did that last time too. It gets, you want to give still the best damn convention you can, and so,
sure. That's why we have Colin Baker coming.
Exactly. Well, he's fun.
Colin is a great guy.
Yeah.
He just the storylines and stuff when he was the Doctor just weren't great. I mean, it wasn't his fault, and they wanted him to play it. I mean, there was a lot of conflict.
Right.
So I don't. When I was younger, I blamed him because I didn't know any better. As you get older and you finally stuff comes out and you read it, then you're like, okay, well, it wasn't this guy's fault, you know.
And
I thought they did pick him a little close to when he played the head of security on Gallifrey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it, like a season or two difference? And all of a sudden he's the Doctor, and you're like, weren't you a security guard?
But to me, like when I was a kid, I don't think I noticed that because you don't. To me, it was a background character, and I probably didn't really pay attention to the point where I thought about it. You know,
I don't know if I noticed it when I was younger or not. I don't think I did. I think I noticed it when I watched them again later on.
Yeah,
because they didn't really show them in order back then either.
Well, they did sometimes. Sometimes when they would get to the end of their run, they might start off again from the beginning, or the beginning being usually Inferno because the other Pertwee stories weren't part of the package at the time.
Yeah, they always would start. They would always show Inferno exactly. Yeah, because it was years before they ran Spearhead from Space.
Yeah, and I know there's a website which has the list, the broadcast date of every Doctor Who episode that WTTW showed back in the day, and the first Doctor Who story ever showed in Chicago was the Mutants, not the Hartnell story, but the John Pertwee story, which I find kind of amusing. I'm wondering how would anyone react to this being the first story they ever see. You know,
why not at that point make it the Gunslingers?
Yeah, it's just so random and kind of
well, that's what made it amazing that it did as well as it did all those years.
Yeah,
I mean, really, you know. So, but sadly, I think we should wrap up. We're at 67 minutes. We talked. We did talk a lot about that burlesque show. Which what was everyone's conclusion?
It was really good.
Yeah,
everyone likes it.
Actually, definitely, go out to see it. Well, it's GorillaTango.com.
Yeah,
and
it's at the Chicago Theater, not the Skokie one.
Right.
And make sure to watch Cold War also.
Yeah.
But
and watch Hyde.
Yeah.
And when you do buy your tickets for Gorilla Tango Theater, make sure you put the code in Busty13.
Exactly.
That's BUSTY 13, number 13. So that was 2 girls, a guy, and a TARDIS. Yes, got it right there.
Another girl and another guy.
3 girls, 2 guys, and a TARDIS.
So you could have started out with 2 guys.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I could have. How many does it take to fly a TARDIS? 6? We're short 1 still.
Yeah.
Or we can almost fly it properly. We still landed with the brake on. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your support. And hey, if you like us, share us with your friends. we could use. We want the listens. We want to be the sole Doctor Who podcast. We want to take the whoever's number 1 now. We want that spot.
Is it Radio Free
Scarrow,
yeah.
Steven and the boys over there? Could be. I listen to them. I like them.
Yeah, I
talked to them a few times.
Yeah, I saw them at different cons. Yeah,
he's married now.
Oh, okay.
His now wife is one of the founders of the Verity podcast.
Oh, okay.
The all-woman Doctor Who podcast.
Okay.
So, yep. Cool. Talked to her. She guest starred on our other podcast before a few times. So, congrats to them. So, but thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Stay tuned for Hyde.